Hi, Kevin. How are you?
Not good. How are you?
Thank you for joining us. How are things in New York?
It's good, but I wouldn't mind a wide open field to kind of get out and exhale for a bit. But this is the cost and the joy of living in the city, I guess.
What do you think? Do you think people are more creative in a crisis? Is that basic human nature?
But it's funny. I also feel like there's almost a pressure to create that is that I find a little paralyzing, to be honest. This is a pandemic. It's not a brief.
Do you think there's any risks on an ethical level in trying to be maybe too creative these days?
Now, if you have a role to play, then you have a role to play. You know, there's two ways to say it for me. One is you're an important role character that has a clear voice in this. And Droga did a piece for Facebook, which I thought was really lovely. And that, you know, Facebook is where people are communicating right now, where they're connecting, where they're getting that back to basics, like I was talking about before, where you're connecting with your family and extended people you hadn't checked in on in a long time. But if you have a role to play, then get your voice out there, and I'm cool with it. But if you are really stretching and you make soda right now, you know, we don't need your slow motion, beautifully evocative piano music right now, you know?
The UN put out a global call to creatives. I'm assuming you've seen it, and basically asked on 6 different briefs, very short briefs, asked for help from a worldwide, asked for campaigns from a worldwide creative audience to get these messages out. Now, I thought that was a very interesting initiative at the same time, but I actually think that their call for campaigns might have been the actual campaign itself. I don't know, because they got a hell of a lot more press for that than anyone else might get for the creative they actually send out. What do you think about that?
The fact that we're all through it in the whole country and the whole world going through the same thing at exactly the same time, it's such a leveling experience. Well, this is kind of amazing that we're all doing the same thing. And how is your brain dealing with this? And how are we going to overcome this personally? And how does this show up, and how each of our personalities overcomes this differently?
If we bring it back to brands, I don't know if you have any insight into what do you think these brands can expect, or how do they pivot? Should they pivot? Should they stay on their same strategic road?
My first started off by saying, listen, if you don't have a role, it's not a brief, but I work with a lot of clients that don't have the most immediate role, but you also can't throw out some tone deaf ad about things are great and you're just happily and you're either it's an old commercial or something. So you kind of have to deal with the elephant in the room. And I don't know about your pessimism or optimism, but I don't think we're out of this. When we get to that part of like, after this is over, that's it. That could be a year easy, and maybe more. So unless your brand is planning on going dark for a year and a half, you have to deal with that elephant in the room. Mm-hmm. And now the question is how, but just tonally, this is each brand at the same time. But I find when in doubt, tell the truth, and even if you're confused as a brand, maybe that's a part of your communication, but just you can't act like it's not there, and to do that is you can't act like you're more important than you are, and you're more vital than you are, or you're a moral high ground, or I need the soda people to make me cry. I don't need any of that. But I do think at some point, just from a tonal place, you have to deal with the elephant and you have to talk about it. And your work has to have the right tone. Now, for some that can be comedy, for some that can be hope, but it just can't. And obviously, you get down to real business choices. And maybe this is what the biggest thing we can do is, how do you adjust each of these brands with upstream ideas? How do you deliver your soda, since I'm on soda? How do you create new ways of marketing and really get inside with a brand on a higher level and more upstream, so you can think about the restructuring of the company as well as just the marketing of the company.
Right.
Our creative minds can do more than just a message at the end of the story. So if you have that kind of relationship with your client, you have that kind of trust, those ideas can really, impact.
Now, technology, which I was considered one of the things that was dividing us most, is now bringing us together more than ever. What are your thoughts on trends and
you find yourself looking at every brand in a new way right now by how vital they are to your life, and I don't know. I think it is a chance to rethink, and I think we have to just stop and kind of not be too attached to what your plan was a little bit ago. Yeah. Because the whole system has changed, and honestly, I think you may live on Zoom now and technology may be a bigger part of your life than ever, but that doesn't mean that other trend isn't really vital, because you still have to turn it off. Mm-hmm. And I think we're all experiencing that Zoom hangover every day.
In terms of what we're seeing online, let's go there for a second. The creativity, not necessarily by the agencies, not by the brands, organic creativity. Are you seeing it? Are you enjoying it? Are you amazed by it? Are you bored by it?
So far, I've been more disappointed than impressed. But then every now and then you see people come out and you're like, okay, yeah, you deserve to be here. But it does separate the fakes from the real, Yeah.
But any other examples that you think are spot on?
I mean, I thought this is not a brand one, but I thought the John Krasinski celebrity, kind of show was just had a tone that he'd done that right, and just felt like, it appeared and it just grew and everybody kind of wanted to feel good about something. Brand wise, I really haven't. I can't say I've seen a ton of things that made me stand up and get excited about stuff. I've seen more mistakes than I have successes. There's some kind of we're in this together thought, and don't go out of your lane, when we're in this, and keeping to your own humanity. I think nobody's going to fault you as a brand for kind of being human in a way, and that can be vulnerability. That can be, I'm not quite sure. That can be humbleness, and I feel like if everything was done with a little bit of humbleness, you get forgiven a lot, So, it's just those turn down the grand gestures a little bit, have it just, and I just think speaking as a person with your brand's voice, and if that's not always 100% certain, if it says doubt, if it says, we don't know where we're going either, we're a little afraid too. I just feel like the honesty is going to be the thing that you're never going to get, never going to look bad in the past. That's where you felt on whatever day this is, on April 8th, that's where you felt at that point. And as long as you're not like, we know the answer on April 8th, or, then you can't be that wrong,
3 words for the future. I
have optimism, hope, and better is not the right word, but I think we might come out of this better, if not that it's not going to be painful, but
I completely understand. I think I get what you're saying in terms of a better world.
Yeah, there you go.
It's I think it's very important. I've got a few takeaways. I made some notes while we were talking, and that this is not a brief. That everybody needs to know their role, and play it well and wisely. That we're in this together, and we all need to know how to be human and allow others to be human as well. It shows some humility, more than anything else, and that if with resolve, there'll be hope, and maybe it will be a better world.
Yeah, that sounds better than when I said it, but I like it.
Congratulations on all your work and everything you're doing. Stay safe, stay sane.
Thank you.
Stay you, because I actually enjoy you. I enjoy you very much. So, and then we will be in touch very soon. Be well, my friend.
No rush. Ciao.
Take care. Bye-bye.